Welcome to the RIM Podcast, episode 41. This is the Iggy host, and today we got a really special guest. He was a private detective for so many years, seeing everything on the streets. He was serving the military. He was a police officer, enforcement. Now he decided to run for politics. I guess there's a lot of stuff out there that needs to be fixed. And his name is Rick Santos, running for District 36.
36, yeah.
Used to be 29, but now because we're drawing the map, they go to 36. My first question, tell us a little bit about yourself and your family, why you want to decide to run, and then we'll move straight forward to the questions.
You know, for me, I've been in Seminole County for 35 years.
Okay.
And I've raised a family here, 6 daughters and a son. And, I felt called to public service.
Okay.
Between the military and law enforcement, I've got 32 years of service.
Wow.
And throughout that time, I've just felt this calling that we've gotten so far away from constitutional values and freedoms that if no one stands up for them, they're going to go away. And I just don't like what I'm seeing. And, at the end of the day, we have a great country and a great community. We just have to get back to business and get back to what the Constitution actually means and says. And I love this country and I love this community, and that's why I'm running.
And that's why our forefathers created this beautiful country. This is the principle that you guys got to go through.
Yeah.
So my first question is, a lot of candidates on both sides, on opposite, with your own candidate level. Tell me, why should people in District 36 vote for you over others?
You're right. There are other candidates.
Yeah.
And I would encourage folks to do their research.
Okay.
I've devoted my entire life to service of this country and community. I've been on the streets. I've got other candidates that say they support safe streets. Well, I do too, because I actually patrolled them and locked up bad guys. There's candidates out there that are saying they support the Constitution. Well, I do too. I actually put a rifle on my back and went overseas to support and defend the Constitution.
Wow.
But more importantly, I'm bringing a message of hope. I'm bringing a message of confidence in the people of this district and this country that we are good enough and we are great enough to get back to the constitutional freedoms and the constitutional matters that allow us to live our lives in freedom, safety, and security, and tap into the greatness that has always been inside of us.
And the greatness is one thing, and courage, that's the most important. A lot of times, if you don't have a courage, fear will overcome, and then you are lost in your own installments. My other question, current political people running, that you're running against. Now we're facing primaries.
Correct.
Now we're going to face the general ones. Do they really doing a great job on both aisles? And what do you see, and how you going to fix it? Why would you change it? Why would you not change it?
Well, my race is it's an open seat.
Okay.
It's held by Representative Plaken now.
Okay.
And he's termed out.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, our local legislators are a failure. We have an amazing governor who is standing at the tip of freedom for us. We have a great state, and if you look at California and New York, and you look at Texas and Florida, what's the difference? I say that it's state government. So when COVID hit in March of 2020, our state legislature met, and they didn't do anything. A year and a half went by, and the governor in November of 2021 called the special session of the legislature. Our community had been shut down for a year and a half. 30% of businesses that were closed because of COVID never came back. So it took our governor to get our legislature to come back into session to actually do something about it. He had to call them back into session again to discuss constitutional carry and insurance reform. That's unacceptable. They should be doing their jobs day one when they get to Tallahassee.
And you've been serving a military. Thank you for our service, keeping us safe. And then you also been serving as a detective, private detective. So pretty much you see our thing. And when did you decide there was a duty call that said, you know what, I have done everything I can. Right now I got to go to legislation. Because bottom line, everything starts from there, affects everybody. Sure. Whatever the piece of the legislation that passed affects everybody. That's how we're going to live. At what particular moment you said, you know what, it is the time, it is the call. What did you sow? What something inside of you changed that you decided you want to run for it?
You know, when COVID hit, I had been pondering this for a long time.
Okay.
But when COVID hit, I saw the very worst of what government could be. It can be tyrannical, overreaching, overbearing, overarching, and it just doesn't care about the average person. The average person has been forgotten.
Yeah.
When I speak to people, you know, it's not the elites that run this country. It's the truck drivers, hairdressers, teachers, cops, firefighters.
Blue-collar workers.
It's blue-collar workers whose voice is no longer heard. And that's who I'm doing this for.
And media doesn't do it and pick it up.
No.
Just pick it up on the big guys, and we don't hear the local government officials. We don't give them a platform. Like you said, everybody's good at something. If we come together, work together, we'll have a better world.
You know, people just want a voice.
Now, you said the COVID-19 restrictions and everything. Why does reform always mean more government? What would you do in that particular point?
You know, reform should never mean more government.
Okay.
By definition, reform means change.
Okay.
Instead of implementing new or more government policies, we should unleash the power of private and public partnerships. We shouldn't rely on out-of-touch legislators in Tallahassee to arbitrarily determine they're going to shut down businesses. We're a home rule county here in Seminole County, and local leaders know what's best. If as state legislators, we're going to demand that the federal government quit bothering us and remove its heel from our necks, we've got to let local communities who know what's best do what's best for those local communities.
And you mentioned through your bio that you said you went through everything. You know what it means being in the disastrous situations, and then we are facing a lot of poverty below the line because inflation goes insane. What would you do, or current representatives are not doing, particularly in District 36, when it comes down to the poverty?
You know, when it comes down to it, poverty, the government's role in poverty is ensuring there's a level playing field, ensuring there's educational opportunities, and ensuring that there's equality of access and equality of opportunity. What's great about this nation is equality of outcome is not guaranteed. I'm a perfect example of that. I grew up in a ghetto in New York City. My grandmother, prayed for me, got in my corner. I went and got an education, joined the military, went to college at night. It took me a long time to get those college degrees, but the one thing I always knew was that things might be difficult, but if you put your mind to something, this is the country to do it. I don't see anyone from this country beating down the doors of other countries and sneaking into their borders. Ask yourself why people are coming here. It's because there's opportunity, and folks outside of our country see that opportunity. We need to see it for ourselves.
Okay, so now I know you're going to represent a lot of mayors, a lot of commissioners in your particular district, job creations. And what is your plan to increase the jobs creations in the District 36?
Yeah. Job creation is something that's been plaguing our nation for years. It started when we got away from the manufacturing-based economy and became a service-based economy. We're a consumer of spenders.
Yes.
We don't create anything. We don't create anything, and we don't teach students how to create anything. We're lagging in STEM, big time. That's why we have to bring folks over on visas to work technical jobs. We have to start by providing a quality, relevant education. School systems need to be laboratories of innovation. They need to be, they're the breeding ground of the future. We can't get out of this overnight, but we can get out of this if we plan.
Okay. If there isn't a particular bill that you want to be known for it, what that particular bill would be that you want to pass in the legislation? That's something stuck in your head and the mind, so listen, I got to get this done.
School choice.
Okay.
School choice.
And why is that?
Schools are government monopoly.
Okay.
I've gotten out there and I've talked to moms, and I speak to them, daily and weekly. What other service or what other entitlement that the government provides, they force you to spend money a certain place? If you have a Pell Grant, for instance,
okay,
they don't force you to go to a certain school.
Yeah.
If you receive some kind of unemployment assistance or financial assistance to buy food, they don't make you go to the Safeway or the Walmart. Okay. They let you spend that wherever you want. Why is education different? Why are we funding failing schools that aren't meeting the needs of our children? And meeting the needs of our children is simply defined as what the parents think that is, not the government.
Okay. So do you believe we should put more civic classes in the colleges so that way we teach our kids about education? Because a lot of times I'm coming across, oh, we should teach the adult kids or adult people before they become a citizenships. They need to know constitutional law. But I'm like, why we go in school while we are little? We have to start when we are little. So why don't we do that? Are you up on that?
Oh, I completely agree. If we talk about civic literacy, I would bet you lunch that you could go down to the federal courthouse in Orlando and find folks who just passed their citizenship who know more than kids in school, the average adult in the mall, or the average legislator.
And that's poor, man. That's really bad.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's bad. Now, inflation. Everybody talks about inflation. I remember before this, Dollar General used to be $1, and now it's like $1.25. Just shift 25%.
Yeah.
So that's basically everything I indicate is on the dollar. So when it comes down to your particular in District 36, how do you see badly inflation, and what would you do to help our governor and other legislator to what particular bill when it comes down to inflation?
Inflation's killing us. Inflation hasn't been this high since 1982. It was 14.6% in 1982.
Wow. Is that nation or the?
That's national.
Okay.
So, and if you think about it, most of the stuff that we deal with here is reflected on a national level. Housing prices, things like that. A year ago, inflation was at less than probably about 2.5%.
Okay.
Last month it was 7.8. This month it's 8.6.
Yeah.
Folks that are in leadership, that are in political office, need to understand how inflation works. It's too many dollars chasing too few goods and services. That's not rocket science.
Yep.
And if we don't produce anything, of course, those too few dollars are not going to buy as much. So, I mean, what's the answer? The answer is we either produce more or quit printing money. 80% of the money in circulation today is printed after December of 2019.
Wow, wow, that's huge circulation.
Yeah.
And like I said, I want to go back again, that you see in your particular District 36, what is the biggest problem or issue that you see in your particular district that we are facing when it comes to our education system? We get a little bit touch on it, but I want to get more elaborated on it. So if you can share with our viewers, what would you do in the Florida State House?
One of the things that we need to be doing is paying teachers better.
Okay.
We cannot retain and recruit teachers who can't pay their bills. We complain about teachers who leave for greener pastures. Well, they've got rent to pay. One of the things we need to do is reform what our children are taught. And the Parental Rights and Education Act did just that. It's limited to, schools exist only to impart academic and technical information that's going to prepare students for their next level of education or to become a productive member of society. I remember growing up, I had no idea if my teacher was a Democrat or Republican. I had no idea, and it was great. We really need to get back to basics, back to education, and I don't believe that it takes a village to raise a child. If there's a village, it's a village of my choosing. It's my family and my friends, and I decide, and my wife, we decide what's best for our children, not the fleeting and shifting norms that are here today and gone tomorrow. We've got teachers talking about gender reassignment with 12-year-olds or 10-year-olds. That's just absolutely insane. We've got school books in the library that are pornographic in nature. If I were to hand one of those to a young person at a bus stop, I'd be led away in handcuffs. Why is it okay for progressive educators to push their agenda on the rest of us? Now, conservatives are tolerant. We believe that you can live your life any way you choose as long as you don't break any laws or affect my rights.
Nice.
And that's what we need to get back to.
Nice. And like I said, my last question, you look it up in the camera and tell us, viewers, why do she vote for you and why do you running for an office? And this is your hot spot now.
All right, let's do it. Hey, I'm running to represent you in District 36 of the Florida House of Representatives. I've got this idea that you know what's best for your family, not me. I've got this idea that your voice is what needs to be heard. Now, there's many great candidates out there, but I'll ask you one thing. Research who they are and research what they've done. See which ones have sacrificed for this country and this community. I'm running because I love this country and I love this community, and I want to represent you in District 36 of the Florida House of Representatives.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is our special guest running for House Representative Rick Santos, running for District 36. We'll leave all of information. Please share, like, comment, and I know primaries are coming, and we need to be aware of it. We need to know who we should vote for. So research is always the best way to do it, and that's why we are bringing you guys on the platform to sharing in the Seminole, Orange, and Osceola County. Thank you so much again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, pleasure interviewing you. Give us such a great information, and thank you so much again. And please, this is the RIM Podcast, episode 41. Your special host Tiggy, and stay tuned 2022 and stay informed 2022. Thank you. Bye.